The mess hall at Naval Base Coronado was always loud at noon. The clatter of trays, bursts of laughter, and war stories bounced off the metal walls. Today was no different. A group of Navy SEALs, fresh from their latest deployment, sat at one of the long tables, swapping tailies. Through the noise, a new face entered, a woman in standard fatigues, moving with a quiet composure that spoke volumes. She carried herself with the calm confidence of someone who had seen far more than she let on. She grabbed a tray, took a seat alone, and began to eat. A few curious glances turned her way. Women in this section of the base were rare, and this one was an enigma. Her uniform was bare, with no insignia or name tag, just a clean patch where they should have been. One of the younger SEALs, Jake Bulldog Miller, known for his humor and lack of filter, leaned over to his teammates with a grin. "Watch this," he whispered. He stood up, swaggered over, and dropped his tray across from her with a playful smirk. "Well, well," he said, his voice loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. "We've got a mystery soldier here. What's your rank, sweetheart?" A ripple of light-hearted, mocking laughter followed the kind of teasing soldiers use when they think someone is out of place. The woman didn't look up right away. Instead, she calmly took a bite of her food, placed her fork down with deliberate care, and then locked eyes with him. "Classified," she said simply. The word hung in the air. Jake chuckled, undeterred. "Classified, huh? What are you, CIA?" Her expression didn't change. Her tone remained flat. "Hiya!" Now the laughter faded. Jake blinked, his confidence wavering. "Higher than the CIA. What are you?" "The President." She leaned forward slightly, her eyes sharp and piercing, carrying an authority that needed no uniform to prove. "No," she said, her voice level, "but I briefed them." That single sentence silenced the entire cafeteria. Conversations paused midward. The clatter of cutlery stopped. Jake's grin vanished completely. You briefed the President?" he stammered. She offered a faint, knowing smile. "Among others." Just then, the main doors to the mess hall swung open, and walked Admiral Pierce, one of the highest-ranking officers in the Pacific Fleet. Everyone instinctively shot to their feet, but it wasn't the Admiral's sudden entrance that froze them solid. It was what happened next. A SEAL jokingly asked for her rank, until her reply made the entire cafeteria freeze. The mess hall at Naval Base Coronado was always buzzing at noon. The clatter of trays, bursts of laughter, and war stories echoed off the metal walls. Today was no different. At one of the long tables sat a group of Navy SEALs, swapping tailies from their last deployment. Their camaraderie, a tangible force in the room. But then, a new face entered at the far end of the hall. It was a woman in standard fatigues. She was quiet, composed, and moved with a calm confidence that suggested she'd seen far more than she ever let on. She glided towards the counter, grabbed a tray, and chose a seat by herself. A small island of stillness in the boisterous sea of sailors. A few curious glances turned her way. It wasn't hostile, just interested. Women weren't a common sight in this section of the base, especially not one like her. Her uniform was clean, but tellingly, it had no visible insignia or name tag. A blank patch where they should have been. This detail didn't escape the notice of the SEALs. One of the younger guys, Jake Bulldog Miller, known for his quick wit and near-to lack of a filter, leaned over to his teammates with a mischievous grin. "Watch this," he whispered. He stood up, sauntered over to her table, and dropped his tray down across from her with a playful, almost theatrical smirk. Well, he said, his voice loud enough for the surrounding tables to hear. "We've got a mystery soldier here." He leaned in a bit. "What's your rank, sweetheart?" A ripple of laughter followed his question. It wasn't mean-spirited, just the typical light-hearted teasing soldiers use when they think someone's a bit out of their element. The woman didn't look up immediately. Instead, she calmly took a bite of her food, methodically placed her fork down on the tray, and then, finally, lifted her head. Her eyes met his, direct and unwavering. Classified, she said simply. The single word hung in the air, a stark contrast to the surrounding noise.